laughing here to myself because I had initially titled my speech Prerequisites for Living the Dream. And my husband, Steve, over there just turned on my mic. And then I got this little in my bum. And I thought, well, there you go. I am living the dream, let me tell you. I want to start with, first off, to get into the spirit of gratitude. I absolutely love where gratitude ranks in terms of vibration for me. And I am so incredibly grateful to be in front of you today, even though I can't really see you. Because I have an opportunity to share so much of the knowledge that has been given to me. And when I look across the room and I think to myself, all the twists of fate that must have happened for you to be in the very seats that you're in, it's absolutely astounding to me. And I trust that the speakers that you've heard today, you realize that they're here for you, that there's one little nugget for each one of you in a different way. And I want to also tell you how grateful I am to the people that are behind me here to my left. I'm so grateful to every single person that appears on that screen because I'm before you because of them. They're just a few of the people that have been featured in my magazine, Motivated. And also, you'll see if you take a closer look, my family. My kids are in there, and my husband's in there, and my business partner's in there. And I'm so grateful because it's very important for me to identify to you that the lessons and the knowledge and the wisdom that they've imparted to me over, say, a lunch or a dinner, or in the case of Richard Branson, a breakfast, allows me to then give that to you. One of the things I loved most about Course speech is that she said, you know, she's just someone that's a sieve, and I feel like I'm just a conduit. None of this is new information. It's been imparted to me, and I get to pay it forward to you. There's a gentleman in the corner there beside Passion, and his name is Sid Vanderpool. And my life is closely linked into his. I could not have imagined 8 years ago when I met him how it would be a defining moment for the journey of my life. 8 years ago, a reporter that I was pretty close with, I was promoting companies and I was promoting people. Not just people, Canadians specifically, who had a dream to make it on a world scale. And Sid was one of these people. Anyway, I was working with this reporter, and he thought I would make a great boxer. And so I took his word for it, and I received boxing lessons as a birthday gift. And I ended up in this boxing gym. And it didn't take very long for my trainer to realize that I had this passion for promoting Canadians, and he had a dream to make it on a world scale. At that point, he was ranked #1 in the world in the super middleweight category in boxing. Well, we live in Canada. This is not our national sport. Hockey is our national sport. And I learned very quickly that not a lot of people were interested in boxing. But there was something incredibly remarkable about him. He not only had this athletic capacity that was off the chart, but he was highly intuitive. He was incredibly introspective. And I thought to myself, here's this Canadian with a dream, and he wants to make it on a world scale. And I wanted to help him get there because I believed in the reason of why he was doing what he was doing. So I came on board. His previous promoter was Don King. Big hair, making it all happen. Not clearly, because he was looking for this title fight. It didn't take very long for us to get there. We were in Vegas. I found myself working feverishly, believing in the dream. And I need to pause just for a minute, because when I think about Sid and I think about success, I feel like we often put it in a box. Like once we just get sort of, you know, the components that are required, then it's check and it's done. In my mind, that's not the truth. I look at Sid's life and I think, okay, he had the athletic talent, he had the single-minded focus, he had the massive passion, the hard work, the willing for sacrifice. He had all of these components all lined up, tenacity, and he was resilient, all of it. But it takes much more than that for us to be successful. It really, really does. So when I started to work with him, it became my journey to sort of figure that out. we ended up, both of us and the team we had together, manifesting this fight. And I was so completely convinced he would win. I went to the mayor of our city and I planned the parade for his homecoming. I had him flying into our local airport. It was all done. The components were all lined up. We got to Vegas. I sat ringside. It didn't take long for the journalist beside me to realize I wasn't a journalist. I was a promoter. I was up screaming and excited, and he was doing well. And then in the 8th round, he wasn't doing so well. And I feel like I kind of went into shock. You know, sometimes when things in life go so slow motion, and I watched something happen that it was never even in my mind that it could have in terms of where he was on a success level. And he lost the fight. Wayne Gretzky was there to watch. His wife was there to watch. Their daughter sang "O Canada." This was a moment in my life that I will never forget. And this Los Angeles reporter put his arm around me. He's like, "Oh, hon, we need to get you a little help here." I was so focused on success, and specifically the outcome of success, that I went to pieces. Coming home to Canada, I remember not being able to process it on the plane. I remember coming into the foyer of my house, dropping the bags, leaning against the wall, sliding down. I grabbed my knees and I cried. And it took quite a while for me to understand what the tears were about, because Sid was not upset. It didn't affect him at all. It affected me. I was attached to the outcome of it. And that was the beginning of my journey to realize how important it is to look at the process. And out of that experience, I realized an amazing epiphany. Sid got in the ring. And I think about how many people have a dream inside of them and they won't get in the ring. They won't get in the arena of life to give it a shot. And it has been over time that I realized that failure is an illusion. He said to himself, "I just got to get in the ring." He didn't look back on his life and go, "I did it. I got in the ring." He was not attached to the outcome of it. In these moments that I think we have, these great epiphanies, it requires us to peel away the layers of who we are. And I've had several in my life. The one on the floor in the foyer was one of them. And if I were to create sort of a montage or a collage sort of like this of what I think success looks like, it has nothing to do with the gold medal around your neck. It has nothing to do with the arm in the air when you've won the fight. It is really about those moments where you've peeled away the layers and you've asked yourself the hard questions. And the hard questions, I think, are, why are you here? We avoid it all the time. I say it to people at cocktail parties and they go running. It is not an easy thing to answer. My husband is always dragging me away from people. Don't ask them. Just be nice. But it's the most important question I think we can ask. And when you take the time to peel away the layers, and I really want you to know this, I believe, and you don't have to believe it, I'm completely unattached to what you believe, but I believe that when we incarnate into this lifetime, we have signed a sacred contract. There's something we're here to do. Every single person in this room has a life purpose. And whether you care to look at it or not, it's up to you. You made a promise to yourself when you were born. And your job is to find out what that was. Sid did it, and I started to do it when he lost. So when I think about that collage, those are the pictures I'd want. You know, the mom in the fetal position, realizing what it is she wanted or didn't want, and I go, that's it. She asked the hard question. That's the measure of success. It's not if she won or lost or arrived or didn't arrive. That's not what it's about to me. So I think about those snapshots, and I've been so incredibly privileged to ask people what their snapshots are when I do the interviews. And Brett Wilson, who's a co-host of Dragon's Den, I absolutely loved his story to me. He was talking to me about twists of fate, which, again, I'm very passionate about looking at and helping others see how there are no coincidences in life. He was sitting on a plane, grouching away about how he was unhappy with his job, and the gentleman beside him just turned to him and he said, "You know you could own your own company, right?" Just like that. And it shifted his perspective 10%. And 2 weeks later, he started a company. And for those of you who know who Brett Wilson is, the rest really is history. His measure of success is in the multi-millions. That's how he's measured it, but unbelievable. It was just a snapshot. And those are the Polaroids. I'm like, he got it. He went, wait a minute. Why am I here? Okay. And off you go to do it. He got in the ring. He got in the arena of life. Arlene Dickinson, who is a co-host of Dragon's Den as well, I love her story. Amazing. She was lying on the couch of her parents' home after her children were taken away from her. She lost the custody of 4 of her children. She had a high school diploma. She was unemployed and in a very small community. And she sat up one day and went, I got myself in this mess. I take responsibility for it. I better find my way out. There's the snapshot. She got into the arena of life. Started working for a marketing company and 10 years later bought it. Again, she's a multimillionaire who gives back to the community in ways I can't even describe to you. These are the moments I think that if we all stop to be very present to, and you realized how short life really is, you would step up and get into the ring. My first snapshot would be me around that edge of the boxing ring, observing on the periphery, but not in the game. And it was from that moment on that I really started to understand. When I say life is short, I know that first person. 5 years ago, our son died. And 6 months after that, I self-diagnosed breast cancer. And I had a mastectomy. And I'm not crying because of what happened to me. I'm crying because I need you to know life is short. And if you are sitting in this audience telling yourself, I have so much time, one day I'll get in the ring. I'm telling you, you don't know when that is. And you need to do it now. Life is a gift. It is not a given. I interviewed David Suzuki for the cover of Motivated, and there are copies at the back, and I encourage you to take one because it's my gift to you. I was interviewing him. I asked him about the weather like all great Canadians do. How's the weather in Vancouver? And we're just having this casual chat. And about 3 minutes in, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to position a statement here. I don't do a lot of research when I interview people. I try and be very intuitive, and I'm fluid, and I kind of go with the flow. And in this particular interview, I was thinking about why our society hasn't heeded the call about global warming. So I positioned it this way. I said, David, I don't really believe that we ever protect anything we don't deem sacred. And in order for us to get how important our resources are and how wonderful our country is in terms of those resources, we literally need to interact and have a heart imprint. And so how is it that we're going to get the world to have a first-hand experience, to have a heart imprint, so that they heed the call? It was a question, it was kind of a statement, and I was just intuitively thinking he would take his time and then answer me how that was going to happen. Long pause. And he says to me, one of the greatest Canadians that has ever lived, he says to me, you're right, Shevan, I'm a failure. And if you listen to the transcribed version, like if you listen to the tape, I lost my breath. I thought to myself, how has he told the story that he's a failure? And I couldn't, again, it was kind of like a Sid moment. What? And I said, "You're not a failure." He goes, "No, I am." He said in that interview 6 times, "I'm a failure, Shevan." In the transcribed version, you'll see it 3 times. I can't always fit everything in, but 6 times. He said to me, "I'm a failure." It took me a few minutes, but then I said to him, "I don't have the same definition. Failure is an illusion. That's in your head. It's a story you're telling yourself. Stop. I think you're attached to what people think, or you're attached to how people receive your message, and that is not your job. We are called to come and find our voice and find our mission and find our purpose, and then you leave it. If I was up here and I was attached to how you receive my speech, good or poor opinion, then I might tell myself I'm a failure in some capacity, but I'm not. I'm just here to tell you what others have passed on to me and what I believe. In the end, it's your job to get into the ring." So I passed this on to Dr. Suzuki, and I got to tell you, that was the most, I couldn't even anticipate how it would go and how it unfolded. In the end, we've ended up great friends, and he sent me this beautiful note at Christmas and said that I'd impacted his life because I gave him a big hard punch in the arm and said, "Why don't you reposition this?" And I feel like in my own moments where I've had to have the snapshots of, okay, why are you here? And certainly after Declan died and I lost my breast, I remember lying in the bathtub looking out the window, and I actually screamed. I said, "Why am I here?" I was so angry. But the answer came back to inspire the world. And I had no idea how to do that. You never need to know how. You just need to know why. And so I had, the magazine was born out of that sort of concept of it. I have another snapshot very recently of me in our bedroom closet with my laptop. I'm in a red robe and my hair's in a bun. I have no makeup on. 3 weeks ago, honest to God. And I'm saying to myself, how are you going to do what you were meant to do? And I got stuck on the how again. All the moms in the audience know why I was in the closet. Chaos is outside the closet. And I'm typing away, asking myself the hard questions. And really the answers that were coming back again, you have to be unattached to outcome. I know in every fiber of my being, my next step, my next stage is television. The how of that is incredible to me. But my producer from LA is sitting in the front row. He'll make me cry. We got to stop on the crying part. But how he ended up in my life through twists of fate, and how I will have an opportunity in which to do what I know I was meant to do is the amazing piece to me. And so what I want to leave with you today is really that concept about an illusion of failure. And the only way you can get out of that illusion is to never be attached to the outcome. Do not care about the good or poor opinion of others. It is not your business. People talk about the fear piece. I'm telling you, it is much more about not being attached to outcome and not being attached to the good or poor opinion. What I'd like for you, but you have to choose, is to decide if you will be the cold and timid souls of the world that never know victory or defeat. Decide at least to get in the game. That's all I'm asking. You get to choose it, but life is so short, so live it to the fullest. Thank you.